Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Reviews, and today we're giving you guys our final review of GRIZZLY by Slaughter to Prevail. So we've listened to this album non-stop for an entire week, and where shall we start? Let's just talk about some songs.
Sure.
Let's talk about the first song, Banditos.
Banditos.
With a T, it's not with a D. With a D would be the Spanish version. T is more Italian.
Okay. Did not know that. Cool.
So, because I remember, seeing some people saying like, yeah, the Spanish part's not like actually Spanish. Like they're aiming for a more Italian kind of thing with it, I guess.
Is it Italian though? Because it didn't sound Italian to me. I mean, I could see it being Italian, maybe, but it didn't sound Italian to me.
There was a commenter who was saying like, this is basically just like a weird Russian-Italian gibberish hybrid that they're kind of doing. Either way, that part of the song I really think should either be shorter, the very start, or the very end.
Correct.
Because it's kind of too long for not being the end, and the fact that it does this whole thing, stops, and then like this breakdown just shows up.
Yeah.
It's just really weird pacing of the song, and I think it would be sick to open the song like that.
Yeah, sure.
With that, and then bam! Or to just end it with that, and then just like move on,
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a fine song, but that consistently kind of like makes it a bit of a struggle. Because I would always, every time I heard that song, I'm like, I wish they did this a little differently.
Yeah.
I can appreciate the fact that they did something. And I mentioned this last week where I like that this band experimented with stuff, tried new things, tried some creative stuff with their sound. It's not like, they decided to just make 13 more Demolishers.
Yeah.
So I could be glad for that, and I like that. I just think something like that with this track, they could have fixed it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they released a lot of singles, and it goes as far back as like 2022. 1984 was the very first one, which is the last track on this album. And I don't know about you, but I feel like that song sounds a little bit more like it would fit on Coastalone. And it kind of makes sense because, Coastalone came out the year before, so they were probably still had residuals of the creativity that was in the era of that for the band when they made that song.
That makes sense, yeah.
So I feel like even though it's a good song and it's not a huge problem, but it kind of just makes me think the song just kind of lends itself more towards the last record than this one because it was made so far before a lot of the stuff that's presented here.
So you're saying like it doesn't fit on this album, or it just kind of feels like it's out of place? Like what are you actually trying to say about it?
It kind of feels like it's a little bit out of place, but not to the point of it being like a problem. I noticed that it's like, okay, this kind of feels like it doesn't fit with the personality of what this record kind of presents. However, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay. I never really, it didn't really stand out like that to me, really. But now that you're mentioning it, I feel like it does have a little bit of a different taste or flavor than the rest of the album in a way. And yeah, it could be because of the era or the time that it was written and recorded for sure.
Yeah, like it's, you'll be in a different place if you recorded at one time compared to like years later, months later, like you'll be in different spots. So then when you take all these sessions together, it might kind of be disjunct. Not a huge problem on this record. That was more of a kind of an observational thing.
Yeah.
But I still love Behelit. I think it's the best song on this record, 100%. It hits like a truck. So it's heavy in the sense like you really feel it, especially with how experimental this was for the band with the melodic aspects of it. It really pulls a lot from the Rammstein influence, which is there on multiple points in this album, which is really cool.
Yeah.
The breakdown is also pretty interesting because there's a little syncopation kind of trickery where Evgeny's basically tricking the listener into thinking he's playing a straight eighth figure by playing the eighth note triplets on his feet, but then his hands are implying a straight eighth groove, which is not actually happening. So it's a cool little trick that he's doing there that I noticed. I kind of sat down, labbed that out to see what was up. So it's cool that the song on a fundamental level feels cool, but to have depth like that is also a huge plus for that song. I still love it. It's still my top track.
It's my top track too, probably. That, and there's another one that's probably close to that, but I'll get into that when I talk. But
Interesting.
yeah, Behelit is definitely like the top of this album.
So even though I want to say Viking's probably the closest to like another Demolisher, I still like it. I like it quite a bit. I like the hook riff that's there. It's always fun. I like that they really kind of gave that vibe for the way like the chanting is in the beginning and the horn that you hear or whatever that was like at the start. I liked it. They give the song character that way.
Yeah.
So I think that is pretty cool. Another pretty powerful one, and this one's up there as well, is Rodina. That's a really powerful song. It does sound a lot like Motor, like we mentioned last week.
Yeah.
Another Rammstein one. So it adds more personality to the album, and it's another hard hitter, and it's cool that it comes right after Behelit. I don't know if that's the best position to have them back to back, because that's another thing I thought about with this record, is that I thought maybe you could shift some tracks around a little bit.
Yeah.
Not to say the pacing's bad, I just feel like it could be a little bit more fluid with what these tracks bring to the table, because there is a decent amount of diversity in terms of what the band brings to the table on this record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Rodina could have been, like, it would have been probably better suited more in the middle of the album, because it's towards the end, track number 10. Mm-hmm. And for that song, that to me is like the break song or cool down song or whatever, like we like to say. I think it's needed on the album, but having it that late, not a problem, but I think maybe what I'm trying to say is I'm just used to having it earlier. Most bands, I think, tend to put that at track 4 or 5, and then the rest of the album is whatever. So it felt kind of weird having it that late. I don't have a problem with it. It felt a little unnatural in a way.
Yeah, I think it might depend on, album length sometimes. I've seen some bands have maybe like the softer one a few tracks in, and then if it's a long enough album, they'll have a softer one kind of closer to the end.
Yeah. To
prepare you for like some final blast or whatever that happens after, which does happen with 3 songs back to back to back, which are 3 singles: Conflict, Kid of Darkness, and 1984. Mm-hmm. Conflict and Kid of Darkness are still really fun. Hearing them more again, and those were 2 of the singles. Really cool. I think Conflict has a sick, wicked bounce to it that I love every time. And that Kid of Darkness guitar riff is really cool. Out of those 2, I do lean a little bit more towards Conflict. That one, consistently, I like the bounce of that. There's only you and me and fat fucking Conflict. It's always fun to hear when he says that in the track. So I do really like that one quite a bit. Now, one thing to mention about Kid of Darkness, which is a little bit of a criticism that I have for this record, is that near the end it has like the demon voice.
Which one?
Well, it's the one that like you can tell has like this layering on it that totally sounds like he put a bit of effects on it. And I feel like it's a little bit overdone, because there's times on that song, and a few songs in this record where I'm just like, okay, like this again. Like I feel like that's the kind of thing at this point with this band that should be used very sparingly. It should be the kind of thing where it's like there's that one point where he does it, where he kind of does it a few times, and it's just like, oh, I get it. You know what I mean? Like we've seen it before. We've seen it here on this record as well. Like I think that should be a few and far between creative decision.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I had a decent time listening to this album. I'll just say that it didn't quite live up to my hype, because I was pretty hyped about this going in. Costalon being an awesome album, 2 Toe Tag album, and we enjoyed all the singles pretty much. But listening to this album, I felt like there was a lot of stuff that was kind of just running through the mill and just not really, shouting out, standing out to me. And I'm just going to start talking about Conflict, because you were mentioning that it was a song that you liked. It's actually one of my least favorite songs on the album. So I find that song and also Lift That Shit, those 2 songs, I found them to be kind of like gym bro type songs. Like, I mean, and for obvious reasons, like Lift That Shit, don't be a fucking pussy is the lyric.
Just start lifting.
And then Conflict is like, I'm so big and tough, I'll fight you, yada yada. That to me is just kind of cringy. It's borderline on that cringe, threshold. And there's one line in Conflict where he says, "Shut the fuck up and go walk, boy." And I'm like, maybe, I mean, sure, you're a big tough guy, I get it. I also wondered maybe that was inspired by Pantera, because they have Walk.
Yeah, Walk On,
and
Homeboy.
There's also another Pantera reference on this album. I'm just going to completely flip right here and talk about another song that's on top for me on this album, and that's Babaika. Sorry for mispronunciation. But this song has a riff that's very close to Domination's riff. And it's something that was that I noticed. It was pointed out by a couple of our viewers in the comments, and every time it came on, I was like, "This is Domination. This is Domination." Now I didn't go back and listen to Domination and compare riffs because sometimes you remember something and then you listen to it, the original,
like, maybe not.
and it's not quite. And I'll give you an example of that. But yeah, Babeka is a fucking awesome song. That riff is a sick riff, whether it's a copy or influenced by Domination or not. It's an awesome riff. The chorus is really catchy. Song just grew on me throughout the week. Really, really awesome song. I really like the outro with the beastly double bass, the breakdown. Everything just hits the right spot for that song for me. Really good stuff. Also, it's another track with some Rammstein vibes on it. So, you can't really go wrong with that when you're a big Rammstein fan as well. But the other example I was going to mention is, where is it? Oh yeah. So track number 3, I'm Dead. So in our first impressions, I said that the intro sounded like Local by Coal Chamber.
And did it?
Well, to me it still does, but I went back and listened to that song, the Local by Coal Chamber, and it's not nearly as similar as I thought it was in my memory. So it's not as close as I thought it was, but you could still put the words there and it still kind of matches and stuff like that. It's just not as close as I thought. So it's just weird how your memory can kind of play tricks on you in that way. But I should go back and listen to the Domination riff and really see how close it is to this one, just to compare, right? But either way, it's definitely something that feels influenced by it, if nothing else.
That song in particular, I'm Dead, it's weird because there's aspects of that song I really, really like, but then there's aspects that I'm just like, eh.
Is it like Ronnie's part that you don't like?
It's a big part of it, yeah. It's just, when I hear Ronnie's part, I'm just like, he basically just takes hold of it and says, this is a Falling in Reverse song now for a little bit. It feels just so like injected in there, and I'm just like I don't know. I feel like it just separates too far from the rest of the song.
I get that.
For me to like it as much.
I was like a little bit like, I'm not a big Falling in Reverse fan at all. I don't really care too much for Ronnie Radke. So knowing he's on this song and I hear his part come on, and I thought it was gonna bug me. I thought it was gonna annoy me throughout the week. But it didn't really bug me. I thought it was fine. It's pretty quick. He doesn't do a lot. He says like a couple lines. It's not that much. And then right after he's done his part, there's a moan. Like, moancore? Have you heard about moancore? It's like a subgenre of a subgenre. So it's like deathcore, but before the breakdown, they always have like a... I'm glad you did it because I didn't want to. But yeah, you know the part I'm talking about in this song?
Okay, I think.
It's right after Ronnie's part. Because
then like right after his part, he's just like, oh my God. And it's just like, shut the
I think the oh my God thing is after the moan, but...
Okay, yeah.
After that, it goes into what I think is one of the sickest parts on the album, but it totally reminds me of something from Iowa because it's just this blaring double bass and this weird screaming, and the riff is just something I feel like sounds like it's from Left Behind or something like that. And it's cool stuff. So I think the fact that this song Ronnie's part is surrounded by cool stuff makes it a lot more palatable, makes it a lot more easy to digest, Ronnie's part.
Yeah, and to be fair, a lot of this song I think is really cool. I just feel like that dragged it down for me, personally. Yeah. But there's a lot of really cool riff ideas. And even though I wasn't huge on his part, I do think the fact that it's there, the fact that some of his stuff is integrated there, at least adds more creative personality to it and the album. Because I think, and I mentioned this earlier on, that it's cool that this band is trying different things.
Yeah.
They're not rehashing everything entirely, like they're actually experimenting and trying new stuff. And I like that. Now, I kind of feel like overall, for me, the second half is where it really heats up. The first half is full of like, yeah, pretty good or kind of, But I feel like from Lift That Shit onward, I think the album really starts to get more powerful.
You like Lift That Shit too?
I like it, yeah, I do.
So you like two of the songs that I thought were the worst are actually some of your highlights.
There's a line, I don't think it was in Lift That Shit. I think it was in, was it like, I forgot what song it was where he says, you can kill me, I don't care. Hell is real, I'll see you there. Basically, he says that. I think that's a sick line.
Talking about, yeah.
I don't think it was on Lift That Shit. I think it was like right before that. Like, I think it was on Cloche.
Maybe.
But either way, I thought that line was sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like from Lift That Shit, which I generally liked, onwards, I feel like the album started to heat up.
What are your thoughts on song 3 now that we've listened to it for a whole week and we reacted to it and we know that it's going to be on Baby Metal's album as well?
Yes, it is.
And I mean, but like when we did our first impressions, I made a comment that to me, this sounded more like a collaboration rather than a feature.
Yeah.
I changed my mind on that. I feel like it sounds like a feature, but it almost sounds like Slaughter to Prevail's featuring on a baby metal song. It feels like more of a baby metal song than it does a Slaughter to Prevail song.
Yeah, I can see
to me
that.
Anyway. But I'm also not sure because I'm pretty sure it's the band is Slaughter to Prevail. It's not Baby Metal's band playing this, so technically it's mostly a Slaughter to Prevail song. But it feels like Alex is featuring in his own song because he's got like basically a verse towards the end, and then he's kind of like co-singing,
Yeah.
at the end or whatever. But it feels more like a Baby Metal song than it does a Slaughter to Prevail song.
I think a big part of that is just the way that the verses work and the way that it has that hooky chorus, which Baby Metal is known for.
Yeah.
I think the song's fine. I don't love it. I know people that do love it. A lot of people love it. A lot of people
I think
love
Baby Metal fans love it.
Baby Metal fans, of course. But, I thought it was fine. Didn't really it wasn't amazing. It was just fine. Yeah, okay, it's cool, fine. Didn't really stand out.
So when you talk about 1984 kind of standing out on the album because it kind of felt like it was from a slightly different era.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that for song 3. I feel like that's the song that stands out on the album and it doesn't quite fit stylistically and just obviously because it's Baby Metal's performing on there and they're a completely different sounding band than Slaughter to Prevail. So having them on there with such a strong presence really makes that song stand out. And that, in a way, is almost like a break song. And that is in the middle of the album at track 7. So
It's kind of weird that on both this album and Baby Metal's album, that is not track 3. It's all about the number 3, yet we can't make it track 3.
Yeah, so that's something that, I can't think of an example because I suck at that, but there's a lot of times where bands will make songs called Song 4 or Song this or Song that, and it's never the track number. And it fucking bugs me. You had one job.
One job, put the number right where you said it would go.
Put the number where you said it's going. So, I mean, that's not even really a gripe. We're just making fun of it for fun. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm ready to rate GRIZZLY now if you are.
Yeah.
All right, so I really like 2 of the songs on this album, being Behelit and Babaika. Those songs are both fucking awesome. There's a bunch of songs that I also really like. Rodina's awesome. I'm Dead is awesome. There's a few songs that just kind of came and went, and it's unfortunate. Maybe they kind of were a little bit too ambitious going with 13 tracks. Maybe they could have cut it down to 10 and, made a little bit more of a strong feeling album, because this album does feel like it's got a little bit too many songs on it for me. Each of the songs doesn't really stand apart enough for me. Even though there's individuality in the songs, I felt like it was just too much. So a lot of them just kind of come and go and they kind of blend in. They kind of just do their thing and I forget about them. So with that being said, my score for GRIZZLY is a 6 out of 10.
That's a pretty fair score. For myself, I said a lot of really good things about this album, and I do like it. I think it's good, and I'm once again glad that this band has experimented and actually made a lot of unique and cool stuff for the record. However, there's aspects of this album that just did not jump out to me the same way Kostalam did. Kostalam felt like a magical album, and you get that sense for it when you listen to that kind of record.
Yeah.
This one, although there's a lot of cool and interesting stuff on it, I think just did not hit the same mark, though, a big part of it might be it's a little bit too long. You might want to either cut a track or 2, reorganize the tracks a little bit, and then also release a deluxe edition that has them all. Like all 13. I feel like that might be the best play.
Yeah.
So while I like the album, it's got some really cool and creative and interesting stuff. It does not get a toe tag from me. It's going to get a 7.
Fair enough.
Generally favorable scores though. 6 from Vile and a 7 from me. So we'd love to hear what you guys have to say about GRIZZLY a week after its release. So let us know in the comments below. What do you think of this album? What would you rate it? How would you compare it with the other Slaughter to Prevail albums? We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Anyway, that's all we got for you today. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
I'm Vile Self.
And keep the horns up.